HCB family, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball, your home of pure rugby league. Hope you guys are well. Thank you again for tuning in. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. This video here is basically going to be an analysis and a prediction as to where your favorite team will finish this year in the NRL season of 2023. Granted, obviously it's 17 teams. So what further ado, DJ, hit that intro. Alright guys, again, hope you're well. Thank you again for tuning in. Look, this 2023 season is going to be hectic. Obviously, there's an additional team. It makes it easier or harder for your team, depending on who you follow. But in saying that, though, I'm going to be going through this. Now, again, disclaimer, I don't mean to offend you and your team you support. Believe you me, look at the team I support. Things are pretty rough most times. But in saying that, look, it's a guesstimation. It's a guess. You can't go right, you can't go wrong, because ultimately what will matter is what happens from round 1 to round 27. In saying that, though, we do have a very hectic sort of a prediction and as well as an analysis, if I can get that out. So I suppose in saying that, I'm going to get straight into it. I will be doing the teams from 17 backwards, if that makes sense. So 17, 16, 15, as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I just want to sort of just get into it. So, we'll get into it. All right, guys, so 17th I have is the Dolphins. Now, before I start, obviously, they're a new team. They're a team that have some experience, definitely, but I think they might lack the firepower. Now, granted, obviously, you got some key players in the Bromwich Bros, Sean O'Sullivan. You might even chuck in Milford, if you will, Te Whare as well, possibly. But again, those names there, in comparison to some of the other teams, again, respectfully, I just don't think it'll be enough to be able to push through. Now, granted, we all know Wayne Bennett is a mastermind coach. In some people's opinions, the greatest of all time. I just don't think he'll be able to move the needle here. 5 wins at best, possibly, for the Dolphins. Again, like I said, it is what it is. At our 16th here, I actually have the St. Illawarra Dragons. Now, granted, their list is a little bit better than the Dolphins. I still think, though, that things possibly may... I think they're in a season of transition. Give it the next 2 to 3 years, things will start moving. Obviously, the likes of Ben Hunt, Mone Shaw leading the charge, followed by the likes of, a fullback possibly. Well, it might be Sullivan. I'm not too sure, right? Things are sort of moving here and there. Obviously, Marby as well in the picture, in the frame. The team for me, though, unsure, in all honesty, right? Unsure at best as to what they're trying to look like, what they will look like possibly. Obviously, their coach there at the helm too. I'm not too sure. I don't see them winning too many games, in my opinion. We'll do better than the Dolphins, though. But yeah, 16 for me. 15th place for me is going to be the Knights. Now, granted, obviously, Kalen Ponga, though a bit injury prone. I don't want to throw that word there, but a bit injury prone, I will say it. Kalen Ponga, right? Adam O'Brien has a very tough task ahead of him, trying to get this team here back into finals contention. Now, in saying that, it has not been an easy ride for him, the Knights, in my opinion. Obviously, this season, though, with heavy reliance on Kalen Ponga, particularly in the 5'8 position, granted, somebody will be playing fullback. I'm not sure how this team will gel. I really don't. Obviously, they've got Tyson Frizzell spearheading the forward pack, but again, some key losses potentially, but then some handy additions too. So we'll have to wait and see how this team sort of does gel. Obviously, Jackson Hastings, Gamble as well there. Just have to wait and see. But for me, I don't know. 7 wins, possibly. That's just my thoughts there. At our 14th place, we had the Tigers. Last year's Wooden Spooners, for me, I think, improve. Now, granted, they do have some very good additions, right? Papali'i is one of them, Koroisau. They're moving the needle, right? The thread is moving. The Tigers, for me, I think, will do enough to punch above their weight this season. Now, again, handy additions, right? Allows for, I suppose, more transition into your player positions, right? For example, Twal can possibly play now front row forward, and have Ofa'ingawe at lock, and then Papali'i second row. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into this. I'll save that for another video where I predict my, starting 18, but you get my point. Look, for me, Tigers will do better. I do think, though, in saying that, especially with the politics behind it all, not in a bad way. Obviously, Benji Marshall coming in. for example, things may just gel and go a little bit more positive for you Tigers fans out there. So I've got you guys there at 14th. At 13th, I have the Warriors. Now, granted, last season, absolutely the season of doom in my opinion. I think though this year, especially Webster in charge, a few handy additions, a few key losses. I still think the Warriors will be able to do enough and be better than what they were last season. Now, granted, obviously, again, coming into the season here, with a lot more home games now, right, as opposed to what it's been the last 3 to 4 years on average. This should probably bode well. In saying that, though, for the Warriors, I think, if much like the Tigers, all you can hope for is progress, and moving up the ladder a few spaces, I think is progress enough. But yeah, for me, I have the Warriors there at 13. 8 wins, 9 wins possibly. But yeah. At 12th place here, I have is the Sea Eagles. Manly. What can I say about Manly? Obviously, no Hasler this time around, right? Things are changing. Players are coming, players are going. Some players are trying to get themselves in rehab to actually be able to play, right? So a lot of moving pieces here for Manly. Now, bear in mind, obviously, DCE, Jake Trbojevic, right, in charge there, and obviously followed by the likes of Barseka, Josh Schuster, who I think is going to have a big season. For me, Manly, I think, though, they're probably still going to be carrying the wounds of last season, right? Particularly for this one here. I don't see them in the transition period so much, but I do think they're going to be definitely throwing Schuster out the deep end in the halves, I think, in particular. Again, finishing at 12th place for me is not a bad thing, actually. But in saying that, I just think that's where they're at the moment. So, 12th place for me. In 11th place here, I have the Broncos, Brisbane Broncos. Arguably the most popular team, I think, anyway, in Queensland, in the NRL. Obviously, some few key handy additions. Broncos, for me, I think will be good. Obviously, the likes of Carrigan, Haas, addition Reece Walsh, Cobbo. Although those two players possibly trying to fight over that fullback position. Broncos fans, tell me, who would you rather have, Reece Walsh or Cobbo at fullback? Anyway, in saying that though, again for them, they've got the players there. Now, whether they gel or not is the question. They've got a team, in my opinion anyway, that can definitely be top 8. I think they can. But things just don't really go to plan for these boys here. And obviously, again, coming in, I think they were 9th place last season. So again, so close, yet so far at the end there. But again, I have them coming in at 11th place. Yeah. 10th place for me, Bulldogs. We all know about the Bulldogs, right? Gus Gould, right? Money, players wanting, right? To join. And look, in all seriousness though, I really see them moving up. Obviously the likes of Burton, Bangai Jr., you got the handy addition there of Kikau, Reed Mahoney. Look, this is probably a pick here that I could get wrong, potentially, just like the Broncos, where they might even be higher, but I'm saying that it's just a prediction. So I have here Bulldogs coming in at 10th. I do think they'll definitely improve, and they'll be one to watch for. They very well could be the dark horse, right, in this whole prediction for mine, potentially. But I think 10th place is probably a good finish for them. Obviously, again, Reed Mahoney, Matt Byrne, Bangai Jr., Kikau, right, followed by the likes of Flanagan, right, followed by the likes of Biondi Otto, sorry. It's a young team mixed with a bit of flair, a bit of experience. I'm actually looking forward to them, but our 10th place is where I have them. 9th place coming in, and nobody likes 9th place. It's probably just as devastating as Winspoon, I think, in my opinion, is the Eels. I think the Eels definitely tumbled from their loss against Penrith Panthers. Now, again, granted, obviously, they're obviously going to be using that loss as motivation, but sometimes the team that gets knocked back, unless you're the Penrith Panthers, I don't know how this team here comes back into the fold. And saying that, I could be very wrong, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, you got the likes of, Dylan Brown there in the charge, Bowler. Lost some key players too, and honest, particularly, but have to wait and see. I mean, granted, things could be on the up for them, but just have to wait and see. 8th place I have is actually the Titans, Gold Coast Titans. Now, Gold Coast for me, right? Up and down team, but I think for mine, I think they sort of get things clicking. In my honest opinion, they're a team for mine that have never really been far off from the finals. I mean, granted, they weren't in it last year, but the year prior they were, right? So they do have the blueprint to make things work for them. I do think this year, though, especially led by Tino Fa'asua Maliawi, obviously followed there by Clark, the likes of Fifita, you got there Brimson, Jaden Campbell. I think the players here are in good hands. particularly in their forwards. I really think they'll be able to add punch and definitely do enough to actually scrape and make the top 8 in my opinion. Again, had to wait and see, but I don't see it being something that'll be too far-fetched in my opinion. Coming in at 7th place, the Melbourne Storm. Out of all the teams affected in terms of player losses, I think this is the team here that's been ramsacked the most. Obviously losing the likes of the Bromwich brothers, Galfosi, right? Then you got the loss of Brandon Smith. And I think for mine, such a key component of this structure was Brandon Smith, in my opinion. Now, granted, they go in here still with high expectation, I'm sure, but I think that they sort of stumble. Granted, though, their spine, definitely in the top 3 spine, right, on a good day. But I just think for mine, they probably do struggle a little bit. But again, a struggling Storm team is still better than 90% of any other NRL team, even on a good day. But yeah, 7th place for me. 6th place for me is the Raiders. Now, we all know I think the Raiders have the most easiest schedule in the NRL, right? They've got the players, right? The likes of Tapine, Papali'i, right? Fogarty. Obviously, you got the likes of Croker, possibly, Sebastian, Chris. Just a plethora of players who I think can thread the needle, can make things move. Behind Ricky Stewart, they're obviously leading the charge. I think for mine, though, this team here in particular will definitely be one to watch. Raiders have never really been too far off from it, right? They've always been thereabouts. And I really think this season here, they'll definitely capitalize on, to be fair, an easy schedule. But at the same time as well, I think that they'll be able to build and use this as a platform. I do see them finishing at 6th, but don't be surprised if they somehow miraculously crack the top 4. But in saying that, 6th place for me. All right, so over here in 5th place, I have the Sharks. Obviously, the Sharks, top 4 last year. This year, I think they sort of fall off just a little bit. Not too bad, though. I think they'll still do enough anyway to obviously make things, gel things, I think, in my opinion. Obviously led by Nico Hines, Matty Moylan, Hamlin, not Hamlin Nuele. Oh, yeah, Hamlin Nuele, possibly, Hunt, William Kennedy. But I think for mine, the boys there at the Shire will do enough. I do see them still being very competitive, right? They can definitely muster easy 10-plus wins this season. They're still a gritty forward pack, gritty back line as well. And I don't see them, like I said, potentially falling off just a little bit, but I still think they're going to still be in it. So 5th place for me. 4th place I have are the Cowboys. Again, they're going to be top 4 like last season. They're going to be right in the thick of it, right in the mix of it. A team that will always give you their best. And they're such a hard, gritty team over there in Townsville. The lads up there. I don't really see them falling off too badly at all this year. I think they're going to be very consistent and could be a genuine threat, actually, for that premiership. So watch out for the Cowboys. 4th place for me. And the 3rd place I have is the Rabbitohs. I think the Rabbitohs have shown one thing, and that is that they're dangerous, right? Led by Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Murray, Jai Arrow, the likes of, Havili, right? Koloma Tangi, right? You got the likes there of Ilias, Walker. Do I need to carry on? The boys there over there, Redfern, they know how to play their league, but at the same time as well, they gel well. They're very strong, and I think they're very ambitious. They'll be looking at Penrith Panthers' loss as a key motivator into this season, and I'm sure they're going to be unlocking a lot of talent there. So keep a keen eye out there on the Rabbitohs. Genuine favourites for the premiership, in my opinion. Coming in 2nd place here, I have the Penrith Panthers, and look, Penrith Panthers, right? Interestingly enough, things have been happening recently regarding Stephen Crichton, but in saying that, I think the mission is still the same, to win a premiership again. Doing it back to back is one thing. To do it one more time, that definitely puts you surely in a team that could quite possibly be regarded as the best team of the morning game, possibly to go 3 in a row. Now, granted, obviously losing a few key players, right? The likes of Kikau, Goroisau, again, 2 key players in key vital positions. However, in saying that, though, the players that are on the comeuppeth, if you will, they are just as good and will be good, in my opinion. Obviously, you got, who was it there? Sonny Luke, right? And I think it's Mitch Kenny as well. And in the second row, obviously, they've just signed, Garner, right? Luke Garner there. Then you got Sorensen coming off the bench. So long as the Penrith Panthers keep their intensity, and so long as Nathan Cleary can continue to be the player he is, I don't see them being too far off. Right? I think they're still in contention, and to be fair, I still see them in the top 4, top 3 for winning a premiership. So Penrith Panthers still in it for me. First place, right? Sydney Roosters. I think for mine, this is going to be a bold prediction, but I think for mine they come first because I think they have all the tools needed now, particularly with the addition of Turpin, obviously Brandon Smith as well. I think they were missing a hooker that could have been in the caliber of a Jake Friend, and now I think Brandon Smith is that answer. Now, no disrespect there, obviously, to Verrills. I thought he did a good job, in my opinion, but I just think for mine, Brandon Smith is just a whole different creature with the ball in hand, particularly from hooking. And again, he's that prototype. He's a hybrid prop hooker as well. I think for mine, Roosters will definitely be a team to beat. I think they're the team to beat, in my opinion. Now they've got the missing piece, if you will. Their spine will be up to task. They're obviously led by Tedesco, right? You got Keary, Walker in the halves there. Obviously got the wings to bowl, right? There's going to be one to watch out there for. Obviously Swali on the other end. This team is a team full of dreams. Now I'm saying obviously anything can happen, but yeah, that's just my thoughts there. Roosters come first. All right, guys, give me your thoughts overall. I mean, look, I'm done having a yarn. I'm done yapping. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think your team belongs? Again, it's just prediction. If you're offended, sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, but that's it. That's me there, done for now. I'd like to have some feedback. But yeah, thank you again for watching. And yeah, we'll carry on more videos. Take it easy. See you guys next time. And just remember,